This is Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. An informal chats with top business moguls as they share their stories of failure and success in a fun and relaxed way. Get entertained, educated, and unlock the secrets to success.
Welcome to Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman. I'm here with a new friend, Dan Sinawat, who is the founder and CEO of AI Connex. Dan, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah,
it's been
my honor.
Fun learning about your story just in our short time of knowing one another. But tell me about how you started AI Connex and what is it, first of all, and why should anyone have an interest? It's a pretty neat organization.
Yeah, I think we're pretty unique. AI Connex is one of the biggest AI community right now in DFW and probably a few parts of the world like Thailand, Singapore, and Japan. We do a lot of things in Morocco and try to expand a few places too.
So all over the world you have.
We want to.
Okay, that's impressive. So what is it so AI is taken off?
Yeah.
ChatGPT and all of these other operations, and you've got a lot of the major tech companies playing in that space now using AI. In fact, this past week I was in Arizona, and AI was a major part of the conversation for the marketing team because they're using it for some of our other production teams. Tell me, what is AI and how do you think it's going to evolve from this point? Because it's still relatively new.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and especially like what AI Connex does is really AI for business. We try to focus on vertical AI. A lot of people probably been seeing ChatGPT.
Right.
A lot of people talk about LLM. Right, all that I call them like horizontal AI.
Right,
it's infrastructure of AI. But then where it makes sense the most for the rest of us, it's really where the business is. And I always tell people 95% of AI that is relating to us is all business. 5% technical. So if we don't focus on business use case, solving real problem, then it's gonna be hard to get adoption. And you're going to start seeing some of that. Like people already fail in certain AI implementation because they all go up and start talking about technical,
right?
Where it really matters business.
So tell us what that means for the end users. So when you say it matters in business, I know AI is being used to do a lot of the analytics from a business perspective, but walk the listener who's either in business, starting a business, or may want to know more about how AI will impact their business. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think, AI is probably completely different than what people think of IT and cybersecurity. If you look at it before cloud, cybersecurity, it's kind of like a cost center pretty much, right?
Okay.
You're paying for something that, you try to protect yourself from something, but you don't know if it really impact your business or not.
Right.
AI, on the other hand, impact directly to your business, like you said. It works really well with marketing, help you, grow sales through. You can build automation into sales lead generation now.
How do you do that? Do you have any examples of how you build AI into sales generation? That's a really big deal.
Yeah.
To use it for generation. Sales.
Like a good example, a local company here called Valiant Digital, our good partner. They actually have a tool called Luna AI where you can actually, it would go out and source. Let's say I want to invite C-level people and like data scientists to my Why Texas event, which we did at the AT&T Stadium this week.
Right.
They could go out and like scout all those database for me from LinkedIn and anywhere, and then automatically send LinkedIn message for me, email them.
Oh, wow.
And then even SMS them and said, hey, we have a big event coming up at AT&T Stadium. You want to come? Here's discount code, right? All that. Think of me doing it one by one is going to be crazy. They can get to thousands of people for me automatically using AI.
So you don't need to have it in a contact management system.
Yeah.
Kind of, I guess that's old school now, but you can use AI to generate that entire dynamic.
Yeah. And feed back into your CRM. It could be HubSpot. It could be anything, right? So all that, it just work automatically now. And maybe in the future, you don't even need all those SaaS.
Okay.
You just have AI do pretty much everything. So
that's interesting. So how did you start the organization, or why did you start it?
Yeah, great question. A lot of people ask me that all the time. And I think I saw the gap in the market at the beginning of the year. all my friends around 2023 started to have their own AI company. My customers start adopting some AI technology or want to, and they don't know what to do with it. So everybody kind of start coming to me like, hey, Dan, you're like an IT guy, you've been in this. Do you think AI can solve our business problem? I have one big CEO from big construction company came to me and said, hey, we just lost a big like million or even $100 million because subcontractor misplaced a pole during the construction.
Wow.
And now it's a 6-month delay, millions and millions of dollars lost in business. And he think if we applying AI, it should solve that problem. Okay. And I said yes. I actually have a founder that just started an AI in construction.
Interesting.
So
I used to work in construction. What does that look like? Is it poring over the plans to try to find where different beams are or items? How's that being built?
Yeah, great question. And you see, again, it requires these kind of domain expertise, like people that's been in it, understand where's the problem or see the problem, right? And I think what we did with this kind of construction AI, for example, construction have like the design phase.
It does,
right? And then the build phase, you have to do the quality control, and then the delivery and everything, right?
Right.
AI can be involved in all of them from the design. Remember let's think of how you actually go into the design with your customer. It took architect months to actually draw up something.
It did.
And then the customer said, oh, I want parking to be here. I want this design to be industrial. I want, so and so. And then they go back and change again. And now what you can do is you can use Gen AI mixed with certain technology that we have like digital twin. And quickly we can actually create, maybe not a final design, but something that is good enough based on your experience and in the past. AI can learn your previous design, get the taste of, what your firm has been doing, deliver it to the customer in a similar way, but with different tastes that like I want a contemporary, I want industrial. You can change that in like minutes.
That is amazing because what I found, a lot of designs are built in CAD or AutoCAD. And they're kind of flat, but now they've transitioned to 3D designs so that you can see where different components like the HVAC and how that intersects with the beam. Because beforehand, a lot of that happened in the field, which can be costly. So when you start making changes in the field after you start construction, that can be really costly. But if AI is helping to identify those issues in the design stage, that is hugely impactful.
Yeah, and think about quotation. After you get the design, how long did it take you to get the quotation?
Right.
A lot of manual work.
It was. In fact, I was responsible for that RFP process. And it takes weeks, and you have the subcontractors doing a lot of investment in time just to get the takeoffs correct. And so you're right. If you had an AI system that could generate those takeoffs and costs quickly, then it would save a lot of
and
labor.
it actually based on digital twin. So with digital twin, it already know every single part, every single beam. It has the count of everything. Then within an hour, you can get that quotation out, spit out in Excel.
This is exciting for me because I worked in the housing market back during the housing crisis. And one of the projects we had was an unbundling process. So we wanted every single item to be counted, every 2x4, every nail. But if the system already has that data, the subcontractors didn't like it because it required them to do a lot of work to identify every single component. They would usually bid in bulk for the most part, right? So it's kind of a guess.
Exactly.
But if AI can get that accurately per specific item being built, that's huge. From a cost saving and efficiency standpoint.
And it's not just that. What you can do on top of that is, let's say you want to build a commercial building in Frisco. Maybe Frisco City have a code that said you can't build more than 30 story. Most people just accept that. Right. Do you even know why they say 30 story? Most people don't.
They don't.
AI can look into it and actually learn the reason why they said 30 story. And we had that, use case in like Chicago. The reason they put 30 story is the shadow.
DC is the same way. They have a shadow law. You can't cast a certain shadow on the nearby adjacent buildings. Interesting.
And then now we use AI and digital twin to simulate let's say we can build a 50-story with the same shadow.
Right. Oh, interesting. So you're using it to manage your design based on some of those requirements and how it might impact that. That's really fascinating.
See, now it go back to the business. We really talk about business, right?
Right.
Rule and regulation,
Right.
How much can we build? Because the more you can build, the better, like revenue or like IRR for the company. Right? So we all talk about business at the end, and then turn that technical at the end. There's always technical to solve that, but unless you really understand that business impact and all that, and we learn, we have to like really learn how construction work, interview people like yourself and many of our customers to really understand what's the pain point and where would it really make the most impact to the business.
Interesting. Are you doing that through AI Connex, or is there another business so AI Connex is a nonprofit, correct?
We have two arms.
Okay.
One is nonprofit and one is for profit.
Okay, gotcha.
So for the nonprofit, we call AI Connex Outreach, where we work with a lot of school and different community where we help. Like we just did one with the city of Frisco and the Frisco Library. To provide AI training for Spanish-speaking family.
Okay.
So we, because I think there's a lot of things that business need,
right,
and then the community needs. So we have two companies set up for that.
So what does that look like? You built AI for Spanish-speaking communities with the library. What were you trying to help them achieve?
Yeah, at the end, our mission is AI access for all.
Okay.
In Spanish, we say AI para todos.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, we wanted to democratize the access to AI technology, or even inspire people. Right. At the end, it's just this inspiring kids, their parents, to not be afraid of using AI technology. Right. And then we even what we did was just very simple. Just show them what is AI and what can you do with AI.
Right.
And at the end, we give them an example. Here, you can actually put in PDF file in English into ChatGPT and ask it to translate to Spanish and do it vice versa. Now it's something that they can really use, and they can see that, there's a lot we can benefit out of using AI. And, most people ask me, are we going to all lose job? And I said, no, people that actually learn how to use AI will take over your job.
Right.
So, AI is not going to take over your job.
Right.
So I think,
well, that's a fascinating concept, because that has been the public debate is, will AI take the actual job? But what you're saying is that there's a transition in job skill. So the job is still there. It's just that it'll move to people that understand AI and can operate in that environment.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
So you said you're known as the IT guy amongst your friends. What is your background in IT or technology?
Yeah, so I've been working in Japan, Thailand, Singapore, and in the US. So I've been working for big company like NTT.
Now, are you a programmer though, or what element in technology do you have?
Yeah, I'm more like business consultant.
Okay.
That's what I've been doing. So that's why I'm good at networking.
Okay.
And AI Connect is really like AI community, networking community. And then, we built the brand. And once we have the brand, then there's so much we can do underneath that.
Right.
Like we can do outreach because people know us. They wanted to support the community through the brand that we built. And then if we wanted to go into the business, then people ask us for help. They need AI transformation, like construction company, airline related company. So we have many different industry of customer that reach out to us. We did the event at Toyota headquarters this year.
Really?
AI in automotive, together with a couple partners like NTT Data, Trace3, Fortinet, and
You're working with some really big names then, NTT Data, Toyota.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of AI technology have you begun using in the airline industry?
Yeah. For example, we are looking at certain things like consumption analytics, how we can actually looking at the tray and be able to analyze the waste, right? Waste is the big thing. Sustainability is a big thing in airline, travel, aviation industry, and even any industry, right?
Sure.
So environmental.
Are you helping with the route assessments as well?
Yeah. So we're looking to forecasting, route assessment, all this kind of thing. At the end, it's all the data. And then applying that, we create the knowledge, centralized knowledge page where where different agent, for example, this agent would do consumption analytics, but the different AI agent would look at forecasting and then route optimization and different things.
So it's fascinating to me. I've been in business for a long time, and the data analytics piece has been taking place for decades. That's not necessarily new. But what's unique then is having this level of automation across different data groupings. So whether you're looking at, like you mentioned, fuel consumption or routing, but integrating all of that and then doing it quickly. It sounds like AI is helping to reshape the speed in which you can analyze the data and then the volume of data it can consume. And that relational aspect as well.
I think the relational aspect is the most important thing, and how we do it is different than many of the companies, right? You see a lot of company popping up talk about AI, but a lot of people maybe only know the surface, or they have not worked in AI technology before. We and our consultant has been doing this for over decades, right? Like we work with people in our company have experience at like Ericsson, AWS, big company, and they've been doing this their whole career. And we're looking at the data and how that relational, between data and knowledge differently, right? People probably don't talk a lot about that, but we apply like something called ontology engineering into this, and most people don't talk about it because it's such a deep concept of AI that not many people even knew about.
So how do you get into ontology engineering?
So I would say ontology engineering is really about, it's really deal a lot with theory, like how you look at knowledge that people have, interpret that into easily consumable by AI. Think about it as putting like most of the data that you store today, looking at it as noun, right? You're just storing everything as a noun, and you don't really know what it does. You just store all of those data, right? But it's hard to create like some like actionable insight out of it, because everything is just a noun. Ontology engineering is applying verb into those nouns.
Interesting. Now, and you're absolutely right. So I just mentioned that companies have been collecting data for a long time, but they didn't know what to do with it, and they didn't have the means, the resources to understand all that data and how to apply it back into their business. So it sounds like AI is kind of improving that ability to take the data and figure out how to use it, which is what ontology engineering sounds like it's focused on.
I would say to get the most of AI and LLM right now, you have to have a good base of ontology engineering, get your data in the right way with the right meaning around those data, and then build machine reasoning on top of that. So it gives you a more accurate answer. And then applying LLM and AI on top. I think that's the right way of, like really architecting this. And I don't think most people don't really talk about machine reasoning. Probably a new word for a lot of people. And those are some of our secret sauce, really.
So machine reasoning. Now, for a lot of companies that continue to hear about AI, they're not in the technology business. They're trying to figure out, will AI have an impact on my business? They might be a small or medium-sized business. What would you tell them? When you hear AI, it just seems so big as a concept, and they don't know what it means for them in their business. How do they get in or find an organization that can help them utilize AI to improve their business? What does that look like? How expensive? A lot of people think, especially in the old days of software, it was really expensive to get a custom software for your business. But AI is changing that as well. It's not as expensive as people might think. They just have to find the right partner to have the technology that benefits their needs, right?
I would say AI is really localized. You need a good partner that you can talk to. It's not like you can go out and buy something off the shelf and it would work. To make it impactful to your business. If you just need certain function, then just use ChatGPT to write your email and do things for free or cheap. But if you want a little bit more impactful to your business, how you can automate certain thing, find the right partner that actually understand business. I think that's the most important thing.
Agreed.
If you find anybody that come and start talking to you LLM, that's a wrong sign.
Right.
You know? Like, yeah.
Right. Right.
Because I would say technical is probably easier to talk than business.
Right. Agreed.
Most people can go, learn how LLM and, ChatGPT work in probably a week, and you can go up and talk.
Right.
But then to understand and talk about business, like how construction work and, and try to apply that knowledge into AI and IT is completely different skill.
So, and you make a good point there that I think a lot of businesses need to be mindful of. I've been saying this for a while. Pre-AI, a lot of companies will go and buy a new technology for whatever system they're looking to update, whether it's a purchasing system or an HR system. They would essentially take the same architecture, structure of their system from the old one, bring it into the new one, which I think is ineffective. And what I tell businesses, you need to understand how your business has changed. So how do you have your division structured? How do you manage your business today? If you're looking to change your purchasing process, then analyze what the change should look like before you implement the system. So they end up implementing these systems and the system doesn't work well.
Yeah.
And they think it's the system and it's not. It's because they didn't take time to understand their business, either the way their business operates today or how their business will operate in the near future, and then design the system around it. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. You've got to understand the business component before you layer a technology on top of it.
Exactly. And that's a really, really good sign. Like when we talk to the customer, we probably walk off the deal if the customer cannot even explain their problem correctly.
Yes.
Like if you can't explain your problem, you don't know your problem.
Right.
I don't think there's any solution can solve your problem, right? So,
Very true. Now, you mentioned that you were born in New York and you grew up in Thailand. Tell us about that journey. How were you born in New York and why Thailand, and what's your journey?
Yeah, it has been a pretty good and interesting story for my family. My mom and dad used to live in Thailand. My mom used to work for an American lawyer who has an office in Thailand. And then he moved back to New York, and he asked, "Hey, you want to, come work in New York?" And she's like, "Yeah."
So
sure.
were your parents born in Thailand?
Yeah.
Are they okay?
Yeah. And then like the lawyer got my mom a green card, and then bring my dad along.
Wow.
And then we decided to settle in New York. And after she gave birth to my brother, she started her own grocery store in the Bronx.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
So your mom is an entrepreneur as well.
Yeah, my mom and my dad. So we have a little mini grocery store in the Bronx, but then my dad has a heart attack, and when I was 2, so we decided to move back to Thailand where our grandparents are, and and then I spent from 2 years old to 16 years old in Thailand.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I wanted to come back to the U.S. because I'm U.S. citizen, and I was like, oh, why am I a U.S. citizen but never been to the U.S.? So I told my mom I want to go back and study. So
Now, so you moved at 16 back to the U.S.? Did you move on your own?
Yeah, on my own.
By yourself?
Yeah, to Beaumont, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my mom has a friend, a Thai family, so she sent me to stay with her friend, and in Beaumont, and that's my first taste of Texas, and it was great.
That's really bold. So you went to high school in Texas after being in Thailand. What was that transition like, coming back to the U.S. after pretty much growing up in Thailand?
Yeah, I mean, it's completely different culture, because in Thailand, majority of people are Thai. Here, you get a big mix of different culture. It's interesting, I have to learn, people in speaking Spanish here, different people, I play basketball in school. So it was fun. It's just different culture we get to see and, mix with everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard basketball is one of your passions. So
yeah. It's been one of my,
Is that what led you to participate in? You're showing me a new system, Clutch Shots.
Yeah, Clutch Shots.
Is that why you had an interest in it, because of your background? And in fact, tell us about the program.
Yeah. So in AI Connex, we do big events and community. We also do AI consulting and implementation. And a third thing, which we're going to launch this month, called AI's Venture House. Where we actually help startup, getting them from seed to exit.
Oh, wow.
Help them with funding, finding the right partners. So Clutch Shots AI is one of the company in our program. I met the founder. We have the same passion about basketball. Nice. So I'm on the advisor and also helping Clutch Shots to expand. And, Clutch Shot is pretty cool because it deal with sport and how how we're applying AI into sport, especially basketball, how it track the basketball ball and create an instant highlight for you. Think of it as a TikTok for sports highlight.
Sure.
That's what we want to build.
So you could probably do what they did at Dude Perfect, right?
Exactly. Actually, we met Dude Perfect guy during the Dallas Startup Week. We showed him the app. He was very interested in trying it out as well. So
that's pretty neat. No, the technology is just incredible. And one of the features that you showed was the ability to connect a lot of personal devices. So if I'm at my kid's basketball game, you can connect all the people watching the same game and recording from their phones, which is kind of novel to your technology. Everyone is on their phone, not a big camera.
Yeah.
And then the AI pulls all the video shots to create what?
Yeah. Like we try to do something called crowd capture, right? Because a lot of the team doesn't have professional camera, and then they don't have enough equipment to put it all over the court. So we try to think of the way that it will give access to everybody to have a professional like highlights.
That's amazing.
So the only way to do that is to make it possible on everybody's phone.
Right.
So now everybody who download this Clutch Shots AI, no matter which, if you'll be in a court side, someone could sit on the bench.
Right.
We actually, it's free for all. Everybody use this app, you get the highlight from every angle in the court. Whoever used this app.
That's incredible. And I suspect that would be even more advantageous for someone looking to go to the next level in their college career. It could be their highlight reel as they prepare for college, not just using on a social media platform.
Exactly. Yeah. And we try to work with a new analytic company that can actually maybe apply certain new value into that, or, professionally analyze how you move, right? Or put the stats on your head, while you're shooting, adding some animation into it. So it'd be kind of cool how we're going to progress from now. And we are raising some fund for that app so that we can go into different sport. Training AI to do different sport costs, some money because cloud storage and everything, or cloud processing and GPU and everything. But
what do you think your next sport might be? My daughter was a gymnast, and I had one of those big cameras. I recorded all of her games. I didn't have multiple angles on her shot. Presume football might be another good sport for you just because of the movement and activity.
Yeah, I think the biggest sport that we're looking at is actually soccer.
I would agree with you.
Because World Cup is coming here, right? And I want to show the whole world that Texas have more to offer, not just World Cup that we're going to host in 2026. Because the whole world is going to be looking at Texas, what do we have, right? I don't want to show them just barbecue, soccer, and let them go home. So my vision for AI Connex is actually making Texas the AI capital of the world.
Oh, fantastic.
And then by helping all this startup, bringing, like the founder, he's of Clutch Shots AI. He lives in Colorado, but we want to bring him here. And, establish Clutch Shots AI here in Texas so that we can show the world that we have the hub of AI and technology here, and that people should come back. And establish their businesses here as well. And that's the only way every community in Texas or in the U.S. will grow because of this economic
what's
movement.
neat for me, and I'm glad to have you as we wrap up, what's kind of cool is that you're based in Texas, you're based in Dallas, and what you've already figured out is Texas and Dallas specifically is becoming an international player from a business perspective. And it's fascinating to see you and so many other companies like yours based here in Texas, and they have international operations and an international impact on what you're doing. So I appreciate what you're doing. What's unique also about you specifically, as I mentioned, born in New York, lived in Thailand, and then you spent 10 years in Japan as well. So you have an international understanding that a lot of young leaders just don't have.
Yeah, and I hope to be the bridge between those other countries. Like we did one big event in Thailand with NVIDIA and Thai Banking Association. We did 3 events in Singapore and one in Tokyo at Plug and Play office in Tokyo. And we're a good partner with Plug and Play and many other companies. So, and Plug and Play is a big player here in North Texas now. Right? They opened 2 offices here, one in Frisco and one in McKinney. And they do a lot of investment in AI and sport tech as well.
Well, you're building a big ecosystem here, both AI and investment. So I appreciate what you're doing to continue to drive business innovation. Very impressive. So if you had to leave any message for a listener of our program, a business decoded tip, what would you tell the young investor or the young business entrepreneur or someone getting into business about being in business? What tips would you give them?
Yeah, I think, being in business is really about taking some risk and expanding your horizon. Like, I didn't know there's such a opportunity in sport tech, for example.
Right.
But for me being exposed to that, now I see a big opportunity. We're even thinking about creating another brand, just focus on AI sport house, something like that. Yeah, because I think Frisco and the Texas itself, North Texas, would be like the sport hub USA, right?
And they call Frisco the sports capital of the world.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the Dallas Cowboys and their facilities here in Frisco. And then UC Dallas is here. And there's a lot of sports-related enterprises here. So it's really impressive.
Yeah.
Dan, I appreciate you joining us on the program and sharing your advice. Congratulations on your success. AI is so new that I'm excited, one, to talk to you, but to see what happens next because of your global impact and your impact on a really revolutionary new technology that's going to change the entire world. So I appreciate you joining us.
No, thank you. It's my pleasure being here. So
thanks for joining us on Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. Please be sure to subscribe and share and stay tuned for more incredible Business Decoded episodes.